The spaceport on Vargos 9 was always noisy, full of shouting traders, flickering neon lights, and the smell of oil and alien food. Cole hated this place. He was a human trader, just here to collect payment for a delivery. Nothing more. He only wanted his credits and a quick exit. But today was different. As Cole walked toward the merchant stall, something caught his eye. A group of men stood in a circle, laughing loudly. In the middle of them was a girl. Her wrists were chained. Her clothes were torn and dirty. Her head was bowed low, and her long silver hair covered most of her face. She didn't move. She just knelt quietly, as if waiting for something. Cole felt uneasy. He pushed through the crowd and reached the merchant, a fat, slimy alien named Drogo. "Where are my credits?" Cole asked. Drogo grinned, his sharp teeth showing. "No credits. Today, human. Business is bad, but I give you her." He pointed to the chained girl. Cole blinked. "A slave? I don't deal in that filth. She's clean," Drogo said. "No disease, strong, useful, quiet." Cole was about to walk away, but then the girl looked up. Her eyes met his, bright violet, full of pain, fear, and something else. Dignity. She opened her lips and whispered in a soft voice, "Please, don't leave me here." That voice froze him. Before he knew what he was doing, Cole said, "Fine, I'll take her. But I swear, if this is some kind of trick, no trick." Drogo said quickly, tossing the key, "She's all yours." Number. Refunds. Cole unlocked the chains. The girl didn't move at first. Then slowly she stood up. She was tall, maybe 6 feet, with graceful movements. Even in her dirty condition, she looked elegant. She followed Cole without a word. They walked back to his ship, the Star Ember, parked on the edge of the port. Inside, Cole opened a small room and gestured for her to sit. "What's your name?" he asked. The girl looked at the floor. I don't know if I should tell you." "I'm not going to hurt you," he said, his tone softer now. "You're not a slave here. You're free." She looked up again, surprised. Then, "You can call me Kira." "Kira," Cole repeated. "All right, Kira, you hungry?" She nodded slowly. Cole brought her some food, just heated ration packs, but she ate carefully, politely, like someone raised with manners. Not like someone who'd been living in chains. That night, Cole couldn't sleep. Something was strange about Kira. She was too calm, too well-spoken. Her hands were soft, not like someone who'd worked hard labor, and those eyes, they didn't belong to a slave. The next day, Cole watched as she moved around the ship. She studied the controls. She even adjusted a broken sensor without being asked. When he asked how she knew what to do, she only said, "I've seen it done before." By day 3, Cole noticed she had started whispering to herself in a language he didn't recognize. He recorded it and ran it through his translator, Zenthari dialect. High royal class. Cole's heart skipped a beat. Why would a royal speak that language? Why would someone from the Zenthari high class be sold as a slave? He needed answers. One night while she was asleep, Cole checked her arm where a small birthmark had caught his eye earlier. He scanned it. The result appeared in glowing text, "Royal Seal, House Kiraleia. Status, missing. His hand trembled. Kiraleia. That was the name of a royal family from a powerful alien empire, long believed to be overthrown. The empire had fallen years ago during a civil war. The rulers were either killed or vanished. Was she? Before he could process it, Kira woke up. She looked at him with a mixture of fear and sadness. "You found it," she said quietly. Cole didn't speak. He just stared. "I didn't want you to know," she said. "If people find out who I am, they'll kill you too." Cole stepped back. His mind was spinning. "I don't understand. Why were you sold? Why pretend to be a slave?" Kira lowered her head. "Because I had no choice. My family was betrayed. I was smuggled away and told to hide. But they found me. They sold me. I've been passed from one master to another. Until you." Silence filled the room. Cole finally sat down. "Then I guess you're not just Kira." She smiled sadly. "I'm Princess Kiraleia. And I'm the last of my kind." Cole stared at her, his heart pounding. This wasn't just a delivery anymore. This was the beginning of something much bigger. After that night, everything changed on the Star Ember. Cole couldn't look at Kira the same way. She wasn't just a rescued girl anymore. She was royalty, someone born to rule, yet living like a ghost. Still, she never acted proud or arrogant. She moved with quiet grace, helping with small ship tasks and asking for nothing. But strange things kept happening. It started when the ship's navigation system went down during hyperspace. Cole was ready to manually reroute, but before he could touch a button, Kira stepped forward. "May I?" she asked softly. Cole hesitated, then nodded. Kira knelt by the panel, pressed a few hidden switches, and the screen lit up instantly, something even he didn't know was possible. "How did you do that?" Cole asked, shocked. She didn't answer. Instead, she stood and simply said, "I used to watch the engineers. A long time ago." Cole didn't push. But his mind wouldn't rest. Later that day, while flying through a dead sector of space, they picked up a weak signal. It was encrypted. Even Cole's military-grade decoder couldn't break it. Kira listened once, just once, and her face turned pale. "It's not a distress call," she said. "It's a tracker. Someone is looking for something, or someone." Cole frowned. "You think they're after us?" Kira didn't reply. Her eyes were locked on the blinking screen, her hands slowly curling into a fist. That night, Cole sat in the cockpit, watching stars drift by, trying to understand her. Then he noticed something else. Kira had started drawing. On scraps of metal and bits of paper, she sketched strange symbols, unfamiliar star charts, and what looked like a city. Not just any city. It was beautiful. Floating towers, energy, bridges, gardens with glowing trees. Cole recognized it from old history scrolls. The lost capital of the Zenthari Empire, Veralis Prime. "How do you know what it looked like?" he asked the next morning, holding up one of her drawings. "I lived there," she said quietly, still looking down, "before the fires came." Before he could ask more, the ship's alarm blared. Unidentified ship detected. Cole ran to the screen. A dark cruiser was following them. No markings, military design. "Too fast for pirates. Get in the back room," he told Kira. "No," she said, stepping forward. "If they see me, they'll kill you. But if I stay hidden, they'll just keep hunting." He stared at her, torn between fear and fury. "What did you do to get hunted like this?" "I didn't do anything," she whispered. "I was born." The enemy ship hailed them. "Trader vessel Star Ember, you are carrying stolen property. Prepare to be boarded." "Stolen?" Cole said aloud. "They mean you?" Kira nodded. "We're not stopping," Cole muttered, gripping the controls. Cruiser fired a warning shot. The ship shook. Sparks flew from the ceiling. Kira reached into her coat and pulled out a small round device glowing softly. "What is that?" Cole asked. "It's a shield generator," she said calmly. "Royal model, very rare." She pressed the device. A blue bubble flickered across the ship's outer skin. The next energy blast bounced off. Cole was stunned. "That tech's been lost for decades." "Not lost," Kira said, her eyes calm. "Just hidden." They jumped to light speed seconds later, leaving the dark ship behind in empty space. Breathing hard, Cole turned to her. "You just saved my life." "No," she said softly. "I saved your ship. You saved me the day you took me from the market." For a long moment, there was only silence. Then Cole asked, "Why didn't you tell me everything from the beginning?" "I didn't trust you," she admitted. But now I do. Cole sat back in his seat, shaking his head. So let me get this straight. You can navigate, fix my ship, draw like a royal artist, decode military messages, and deflect laser fire, and you still pretend to be just a quiet girl? Kira smiled, the first real smile he'd seen on her face. I never said I was just a quiet girl, she said. Cole laughed, though his heart was still pounding. Whatever this journey had started, as it wasn't about cargo anymore. It wasn't even about survival. It was about protecting the last piece of a fallen empire. And Cole somehow had become part of something much bigger than himself. For 2 days, the Star Ember drifted through silent space. Cole had shut down all major systems. No heat, no signal, not even artificial gravity. Just enough power to breathe and hide. He didn't want anyone to find them. Not after what happened with the black cruiser. But he couldn't sleep. Every time he closed his eyes, he remembered the voice from that dark ship. You are carrying stolen property. He looked across the dim cockpit at Kira. She was curled up on the floor, wrapped in an old blanket. Eyes closed, but he could tell. She wasn't asleep either. She hadn't said much since the escape. She didn't need to. Her silence said enough. They were still hunting her. Cole checked the radar screen again. Nothing. Still. Something felt off. That night, while floating through a dead star system, a tiny red light blinked on the corner of his scanner. It wasn't a ship. It was a pulse, barely a whisper. But it was following them. Kira, he called quietly. She stood up immediately. Alert, we're being tracked again, he said. I killed all the signals. How? Kira looked down at her wrist, then pulled something out from under her skin. It was a tiny silver implant, no bigger than a grain of rice. They put it in me when I was sold, she whispered. I thought it was just a health chip. Cole took it and crushed it under his boot. Not anymore. He looked out the window, deep into the stars. We can't keep running. No, Kira agreed. But I have a place. A planet where they might not follow. It's dangerous, though. Cole raised an eyebrow. Dangerous like how? Ancient. Abandoned. My family used it as a secret vault centuries ago. Cole nodded. Set the course. The ship entered the orbit of a dark planet called Nox Vallis. No cities, no signals. Just a broken world lost to time. They landed in a crater where jagged rocks rose like teeth from the ground. Cold winds blew across. Black sands. The place was silent, but it felt like it was watching. Kira led the way through narrow canyons until they reached a large stone door half buried in the dirt. She placed her palm on a glowing mark, and the door rumbled open. Inside, the air was warmer. Ancient symbols glowed on the walls. They entered a forgotten chamber, full of relics, crowns, armor, and books floating inside energy fields. This is a royal sanctuary, Kira said. My ancestors built it in case the empire ever fell. Cole looked around, amazed. Why haven't they found this place? Because only blood of the line can open it, she said. And I'm the last. Suddenly, a sharp noise echoed. From behind them. Kira turned fast. Someone followed. Cole grabbed his blaster and ran back to the ship, but it was too late. A new ship had landed. Black, silent, no markings. From its ramp stepped 4 alien soldiers in dark armor, their helmets shaped like bird skulls. Princess Kiraleia, one of them called in a metallic voice. You are ordered to surrender. Kira stepped forward, calm. I am under protection of a human trader. Leave now, they laughed. A trader? You mean that scavenger? Cole raised his weapon. Say that again. They fired first. Cole dove and returned fire, while Kira activated a defensive field inside the ancient chamber. Energy blasts lit up the canyon. The enemy moved like ghosts, fast and quiet. But Cole fought like a death worlder. Brutal, smart, and full of stubborn fire. Kira pulled a relic blade from the wall, and to Cole's surprise, it lit up with glowing light. She fought beside him, not as a slave or a princess, but as a warrior born. Together, they pushed the attackers back. One by one, the soldiers fell until only one remained. He tried to retreat, but Cole shot him through the knee. Kira stood over the last soldier. "Who sent you?" he groaned, coughing blood. "The ones who overthrew your house. They fear you. You live, the Empire lives." "And you?" she asked. "I was told you were broken." Kira leaned close, her voice cold. "You were told." "Wrong." She ended it. Later, as they burned the enemy ship and returned to the sanctuary, Cole looked at her differently. "You said you were quiet, hiding." "I was," she said. "But now I remember who I am." "You're not just royalty," Cole said. "You're dangerous." She smiled slightly. "And you're not just a traitor. You stayed." Cole smirked. "I guess that makes us both liars." They didn't speak after that. But they didn't have to. They were hunted now not just by enemies, but by history. And neither of them was running anymore. The fire still burned behind them as Cole and Kira walked back into the ancient sanctuary. Cole's shoulder was bleeding. Kira offered to patch it, but he shook his head. "I live. Just tell me the truth now, all of it." Kira looked at the glowing walls, each one covered in moving symbols from an age long gone. She stood beneath a tall pillar marked with her family crest, a pair of wings wrapped around a crown. "My name is Karaleya Visari of House Zenthari," she said clearly. "First daughter of Emperor Thaler. He ruled half this galaxy before the betrayal." Cole leaned on the wall, trying to understand. "So your father was the emperor, and your mother?" "She died when I was young," she replied. "But I remember her voice, gentle, kind. She used to tell me I would lead with strength and heart." She walked toward the center of the chamber and raised her hand. The ground trembled. A golden cube floated upward from the floor, surrounded by light. It opened slowly, revealing a small crown and a crystal memory sphere. Kira picked it up and turned to Cole. "This holds the royal archive, proof of my bloodline, and everything they tried to erase." Cole stared. "You're not just a princess. You're the only surviving heir." She nodded. "And they know that. That's why they won't stop." Suddenly, the room shifted. The walls changed. A projection of Kira's father appeared, tall, with glowing armor and a proud voice. "To my daughter, if you are seeing this, the Empire has fallen. The traitors wear masks of peace, but they bring war. Do not let our line end. Survive. Then rise." The message ended. Kira looked down, hands shaking. "I've been hiding for so long. I forgot what it felt like to stand." Cole stepped closer. "You don't have to do this alone." She looked at him, eyes wet. "You don't even know me. Why stay?" He smiled softly. "Because the moment I saw you in those chains, I knew you weren't meant to be there. And I don't walk away from people worth fighting for." Kira laughed. Quietly, "You're a strange human." "And you're a stubborn alien," he replied. Over the next hours, they explored the sanctuary. There were relics of royal blood battle plans, sealed vaults, scrolls with the Zenthari royal seal. It was more than a hiding place. It was a war room. Kira found an old ship schematic, a royal starcruiser called Saul's Wake, hidden on a nearby moon. "If we get that ship," she said, "we'll have more than just escape. We'll have a symbol. The Empire's last voice." Cole nodded. "Then we go get it." But nothing was ever easy. That night, while Kira slept inside the sanctuary, Cole stepped outside to take a breath. He stood on the black cliff, staring at the stars. Then he saw it. A small blue light blinking in the sky. It wasn't a star. It was a drone. He aimed his blaster and shot it down. When he picked up the wreckage, his heart sank. It bore the sigil of the Tarn Dominion, the same faction that led the coup against Kira's family. They had found them again. He rushed inside. Kira, wake up, they're coming. Kira opened her eyes, alert. How? Drone surveillance, he said. They've probably already sent scouts. Kira stood, picked up the crown and the memory sphere, and placed them inside a metal case. We take the archives, she said. We burn the rest. But this place your home, Cole began. It was never home, she whispered. Not without people. They set explosives on the entry points and took off in the Star Ember just as the first enemy ships appeared above Dot. As they left the planet's orbit, the sanctuary exploded in a wave of fire and light. The signal that once called out to traitors was now gone. What now? Cole asked. Kira held the case tightly in her lap. Now we find Saul's wake, and then we send a message to every world that still remembers our name. Cole glanced at her. She looked different now, her back straighter, her eyes sharper, her voice steady. Not a runaway, not a slave, a leader. And Cole, the man who once only cared about cargo and credits, was now flying alongside the future of a lost empire. Whatever came next, he was ready. The stars blurred outside the cockpit as the Star Ember flew through deep space. Cole didn't speak. He gripped the steering handles tighter than usual. His eyes were sharp, scanning every blip on the radar. The weight of what they were carrying now wasn't cargo, it was a living secret that could spark a war. Behind him, Kira sat quietly, holding the sealed metal case with her father's memory and crown. Her fingers trembled slightly, though her face stayed calm. You okay? Cole asked without looking back. I'm not afraid for myself, Kira said softly. I'm afraid for you. You're risking everything. Cole finally turned around. I already made my choice. She looked into his eyes. Why? Why help someone like me? You had no reason to, Cole sighed. Because I've seen what happens when people like you are left behind. I've seen what monsters rise when the right ones stay silent. And because you don't deserve to be alone. They reached the coordinates hidden in the Royal Archive, a cold, rocky moon wrapped in storm clouds. Beneath its surface, according to the data, was a hangar with the royal flagship Saul's Wake, buried and waiting. As they descended, lightning flashed through the sky, shaking the ship violently. This place hates visitors, Cole muttered. Silence is why it survived, Kira said. The enemies never thought to look here. They landed on a narrow cliff, just outside a massive rock wall. Kira walked toward a jagged stone covered in faded carvings. She pressed her hand to a small symbol, the crest of her bloodline. A deep rumble echoed from below. The cliff cracked open, revealing a hidden entrance leading into darkness. Welcome back, Princess, a soft voice said from within. A hologram lit up, shaped like a robed alien woman. Royal AI, Kira whispered. She's been waiting all this time. Inside the hidden hangar, Cole stared in disbelief. There she was, Saul's Wake, a gleaming, silver ship twice the size of his own, sleek, deadly, beautiful. Its surface shimmered with ancient markings. It didn't look like it was made. It looked like it was grown. This ship was once feared across galaxies, Kira said. Now it's mine, but it won't fly without help. Tell me what to do, Cole said instantly. Together, they began the work. Activating systems, clearing dust, reconnecting power lines. Cole crawled through tunnels and vents while Kira whispered ancient codes into control panels. Hours passed. Then, without warning, the walls flashed red. Warning! Foreign ship approaching, the AI said. Hostile configuration. 1 minute to contact. Kira's face turned pale. They followed us again. Cole jumped into action. We're not ready for battle. Kira ran to the core systems. If I can just connect the memory sphere, it might activate the main engine. Do it! Cole shouted. Outside, the enemy ship landed on the moon's surface. Armed figures in dark armor began moving toward the cliff. Cole grabbed his blaster and stood at the hangar entrance. I'll buy you time. Kira stopped. No, you'll die out there. Cole looked at her with steady eyes. I told you. I made my choice. I protect what matters. He stepped into the storm. Rain and wind slammed into his face as he crouched behind a rock. The enemy soldiers moved fast, blades drawn, scanning for heat. Cole fired first, hitting 2 in the chest. Then he ducked, rolled, and shot another. But there were too many. He was hit in the leg. He fell. They closed in. Just then a roar echoed. From below, Saul's wake rose from the cliff like a beast waking from a long sleep. Its weapons powered on. Lights flared. Ancient engines screamed back to life. From the ramp, Kira appeared, her crown now resting lightly on her head. She pointed at the enemy and said one word. Leave. The ship fired once, a warning blast that turned a canyon wall to dust. The soldiers retreated. Their ship turned and fled into the clouds. Cole lay on the ground, bleeding. Kira ran to him and dropped to her knees. Why did you do that? Why did you face them alone? He smiled weakly. Because you needed time, and I'm just a traitor, remember? She held his hand. You're not just anything. You're the reason I'm still alive. She lifted him into the ship. As the door closed and they rose into space, Cole whispered, So, what now, princess? Kira looked out into the stars. Now we stop hiding, she said. Now we take back what was stolen. Asterisk. The halls of Saul's wake hummed with life again. For the first time in decades, the royal ship soared through the stars, its engines singing like a long-forgotten song, its lights glowing like the past had come back to breathe. But this time, there was no royal army, no fleet behind them, only 2 people. Kira sat in the command chair, her silver hair tied back, the royal crest now glowing softly on her shoulder. She didn't look like a runaway anymore. She looked like a ruler. Beside her, Cole limped in, bandages on his leg, but his grip on the controls was steady. She flies smooth, he said, running his hand along the panel. She was made for the stars, Kira replied. And now, so am I. They traveled to the edge of neutral space, into the deep zones, where old allies of the Empire had once lived. Worlds now quiet, ruled by fear, or locked behind blockade. Their first stop was Aurelian, a desert moon once loyal to House Zenhari. As the ship landed, a group of locals gathered near the docking zone. Old farmers, ex-soldiers, and silent watchers stood in confusion. They hadn't seen that crest, her family's symbol, in years. Kira stepped out alone. Whispers filled the crowd. That's impossible. She looks like the Empress. She's just a girl. But then she raised her hand, and the memory sphere projected her. Father's final message above them. The wind fell silent. People dropped to their knees. A gray-haired woman stepped forward and placed her hand over her heart. Princess, we have waited. Kira's voice didn't shake, then rise. We don't kneel anymore. The Empire will not return by worship, it returns by will. Words spread like fire. A royal ship had been seen. The lost heir had returned. Old captains pulled rusting banners from secret vaults. Hidden ships powered on. Families told children the name Kiraleia not as myth but as hope. But not all news was welcomed. Across the stars, in the great throne halls of the Tarn Dominion, the rulers listened. She's alive? One asked, and worse, another said. She's being protected by a human, a voice growled from the shadows. Then burn the stars if you must, but find her. Kill the traitor. Silence the air. Back aboard Saul's wake, Cole stared at the latest reports. Fleets are moving. They're not wasting time. I expected that, Kira said. But we're not ready for war, he said. We've got hope, yes, but hope doesn't shoot back. Kira opened a hidden vault on the ship and revealed something ancient. The Crownfire Protocols. Old plans written by her ancestors. A path to restore royal influence without needing massive armies. We don't need to win through force, she explained. We need to remind the galaxy who we are, who I am. Cole studied the scrolls. You're building more than rebellion. You're rebuilding faith. She nodded. But I need time, and I need you. He smiled. I'm not going anywhere. That night, Kira stood on the viewing deck, watching the galaxy swirl in silence. Cole joined her. You don't talk much when you're up here. I'm listening, she said. To what? To the stars. They're old. Older than war, than thrones. And they remember. Cole leaned beside her. Do you ever wish you weren't royal? She hesitated. Sometimes. I wonder what it would feel like to just be. Kira, you're still her, he said. Then why do I feel like someone else every day? Because the world is making you into what it needs. But I see the girl who fixed my ship. The one who whispered please through dirt and chains. That's the same girl leading the stars now. She turned, eyes soft. And who are you, Cole? He chuckled. Just a guy who picked up the wrong cargo and found the right cause. They stood there, side by side, not ruler and servant. Just two people choosing not to run anymore. Suddenly, the alarm sounded. An emergency call lit up the control screen. It was from Norella, a mining colony known to support the old empire. The message was broken but clear. Tarn ships are here. Bombing civilians. We can't hold. Help us. Cole looked at Kira. We're one ship. Kira's voice was calm. We're not going to fight their fleet. We're going to remind them that the Empire has returned. She opened communications. To all nearby systems. This is Princess Kiraleia of House Zenthori. Norella calls for help. If you still remember the honor of the crown, join me. Ships began to answer. Old allies, rogue captains, even ex-enemies who respected her families. Rule. Kira smiled for the first time in days. The air was no longer hidden. She was rising, and she wasn't alone. The fleet above Norella was small, just 6 ships. 4 of them were old, patched together with scrap. One was once a cargo hauler, but at the center of them all, glowing like a silver comet, flew Saul's Wake, and sitting in its throne-like command chair was the girl no one believed would return, Princess Kiraleia. Cole stood beside her, armored now, no longer just a trader. He wore black gloves, a utility belt, and a pulse rifle strapped across his back. The wound in his leg had healed, but the fire in his heart had only grown stronger. Enemy count? He asked. Kira looked to the screen. 22 ships. Mostly Dominion cruisers, heavy artillery, outnumbered. Again, Cole muttered. She smiled. As always. The communication line opened. A stern voice growled from the enemy flagship. Kiraleia, you were supposed to die in chains. Kira stood up and answered with calm power. Then let this be your final surprise. She closed the line and gave the command. All ships formation sweep. Defend the civilians. Saul's Wake will punch the front. The battle began. Red beams lit the sky. Explosions bloomed like flowers of fire in the darkness. Smaller ships danced between lasers, protecting Norella's surface, while Saul's Wake roared through enemy lines like a blade of light. Cole fired the cannons, guiding Kira's ship between heavy blasts. She moved like she was born inside the cockpit, predicting the enemy before they acted. 2 behind us. Cole called. Brace. She replied. She flipped a switch, unleashing a burst from the ship's rear engines that melted one attacker in seconds. Suddenly, a massive enemy cruiser targeted a refugee shuttle below. They're going for the people. Cole shouted. Kira didn't hesitate. She angled Saul's Wake downward and shot forward like a spear. The royal ship took the hit meant for the shuttle, its shields screaming. Alarms rang. Systems flickered. Cole gritted his teeth. We can't take another hit like that. We won't have to, Kira whispered. She reached for the core. Her hands glowed as she touched the ancient console. Activating something hidden, a pulse spread through the ship, a royal beacon. That echoed across the stars. It wasn't just a signal. It was a call to every world that once bowed to her bloodline. In systems light years away, dormant satellites blinked awake. Old warships in hiding powered up. Rebel cells deep in the core systems received the message. The crown lives, the princess stands, rise. Back at Narella, the tide turned. Allied ships, drawn by the signal, began warping in. First a single corvette. Then a squadron. Then an entire fleet bearing the Xanthari crest. Thought lost forever. The Dominion ships began to fall back. Their flagship, surrounded, fired one last desperate shot. It hit the side of Saul's wake, and Cole was thrown across the room. Kira ran to him. Cole! Blood leaked from a cut on his forehead, but he grinned. I'm still breathing. She held him close as the enemy ship exploded in the distance. The battle was over. They had won. Not with numbers. Not with fear, but with unity, loyalty, and faith. Days later, on the liberated world of Narella, a grand gathering was held. Crowds of all species gathered around the ruins of the old citadel. There, on a raised platform, Kira stood in fresh royal robes, the crown of House Xanthari resting gently on her head. She did not kneel. She did not shout. She simply spoke. I was born to a throne I never sat on. I was hidden, sold, and nearly forgotten. But I did not break. And I did not rise alone. This galaxy belongs to the free, and together we rise again. The crowd erupted. Cole stood in the background, arms crossed, smiling quietly. Later, as the sun dipped below the horizon, Kira found him under a tree. You hate attention, don't you? She asked. He smirked. Just never liked speeches. You saved me, she said. More than once. You saved yourself, he replied. I just helped you remember who you are. She stepped closer. So what now, Guardian of the Crown? He raised an eyebrow. Is that official? Only if you stay. Cole looked at her, then to the stars above. I've got no reason to run anymore, she smiled. Good. They stood together, princess and protector. And across the stars, new banners rose, empires shifted, and the tale of a slave girl who became a queen with a human by her side echoed forever.